Hey guys, so by the time this video comes out, my Danny Phantom was in Young Justice Part 2 videos are gonna be out. But yeah, so this is What If Robin Was a Vampire Part 2, aka slash in Young Justice. Young Justice Robin was a vampire. Basically, all my DC What Ifs are probably gonna be based off the Titans TV show, because I soon am going to be making a Titans What If, because the Titans season 3 season has just dropped the 3 episodes, so I'm kind of psyched for that. So basically, guys, I'm going to be doing a What If on the Titans also, and I'm also going to be doing a MCU What if certain DC characters were in the MCU, but whatever. Also, I'm gonna be doing a bunch of pretty much a bunch of original Deku what ifs after my list of pretty much what ifs I'm doing right now over the course of this week. And basically, today, guys, I'm going to try to finish my whole entire list, or this night, or the day. So, yeah, guys, basically, I upload a lot, but I'm going to be grinding right now because, it's the weekend and I'm home alone. I have a lot of space, and also it's quiet, so my recordings are going to be very good. But yeah, so basically, guys, let's get into it and let's get started. So basically, I last left off on, I think, episode 2. So guys, basically, I last left off at episode 2, and now I'm on episode 3, and then I'm going to be skipping on to episode 4. Now, guys, let's get into it, guys. Now, basically, we last left off where Robin. We last left off when we got introduced when basically Dracula was the one that turned Jason. Grayson. Turned Grayson, and basically Grayson would be stronger than normal vampires because he would be turned by the oldest and strongest vampires. Strongest vampire. Now Dracula, if he turns anybody now, since he started vampires, but if he turns anybody now, because like the first vampire he turned, but basically that gene started getting watered down, and vampires started becoming a little bit, they started losing abilities that Dracula had, like teleportation, shapeshifting, and all that other stuff. Now Jason can do all this stuff, mystical, or like Dracula can do like shapeshift to turn into a flea of bats and stuff like that, and pretty much suck when you suck blood, jump really high to even look like he's flying, and also Grayson doesn't take any fall damage, kind of like the vampires from Underworld. So yeah, so basically, Jason is pretty strong because he is turned by one of the strongest, vampires. And Dracula hasn't turned anybody for years. And he does know that if he turns anybody now, they'll get all the abilities of him and become strong as ever. Basically, Grayson, since he's, now a full on, like, Omega level vampire, Jason doesn't know that yet. He just thinks he's a normal vampire. Now, Jason hasn't, you know, researched a lot of vampire, but he has researched some true vampire sightings in certain areas of Gotham, Metropolis, dark areas of Metropolis, and also certain areas like the cornfields of pretty much what was it? The cornfields of what was it? Clark I think Clark Ranch, or what was it? I think it was Smallville. So yeah, stuff like that. So basically, we get switched on to the beginning of episode 3, and basically we see that Speedy is going up against a superpowered mug boss, taking down or stopping his operation. Eventually, he runs into basically the rest of the team, Robin, and also Robin, Kid Flash, and Aqualad, and pretty much they talk to Speedy. Now basically they're making small talk, and basically they ask Speedy to join their team. Speedy being saying, I don't need to join your little team, and basically leaving and going into the shadows. Now basically Robin looks into the dark, seeing Speedy gone, and him being very confused on how he left so quickly, but him just shrugging it off and walking off. Now basically Robin and the rest of the team leave after Speedy declines their offer of joining the Young Justice or the team, and basically Robin and Wally show up to the cave or the Mount Justice, where pretty much Megan, and pretty much Superboy are at. Basically, they go outside of the area trying to, greet pretty much Red Tornado at the Mount Justice lair right next to Happy Harbor. And basically, they, pretty much come out of the Mount Justice and they welcome pretty much Red Tornado after Red Tornado lands down near the area. While he makes small talk with him, and basically, he talks to them. Eventually, he tells them that there's no real missions for you yet, so just, socialize with each other. Basically, him, telling them that we're going to give you a mission soon. Him walking away, and them, socializing. Now, pretty much Robin doesn't, live here, but Robin has been told by Batman that he can go and, stay over to the basically Mount Justice anytime he wants, and basically, pretty much Robin himself pretty much seeing, Red Tornado go back into the cave and leave. Now, Megan, when Red Tornado leaves, she tries to read his mind, but she's shortly recognizes that, Red Tornado isn't organic and you can't read his mind. But yeah. So basically, McGann and the rest and Superboy pretty much show them around the cave, and they talk about how the cave was made, and saying that the whole cave or the whole mountain is the cave, and saying that Green Lantern and Green Lantern and Superman hollowed it out in the early days of the League. Basically, Superboy asking why they leave it. Basically, him saying that pretty much the area of pretty much the location of the League was compromised. Pretty much Superboy saying so they traded it in for a tourist trap. It seems kind of stupid to me. Basically, him saying pretty much Robin is comforting pretty much Megan after Megan says, we must be on constant alert since the villains know about this. But basically, Robin says the villains know we know that they know, about this place. And, they never come here looking for something. Now, basically, pretty much Speedy says what he means is that we're playing in. What he means is that, we're pretty much staying in plain sight. And basically, Robin scoffing at this. Basically, base pause when basically Superboy sniffs something and says that I smell smoke. Pretty much Megan saying my cookies, and he pretty much very drastically her flying towards the kitchen trying to stop them from burning. Robin pretty much super speeds after her, vampire style, passing by the rest of the team. Basically, him following shortly after Megan. Now, basically, at this point, Robin has already fixed up, pretty much his artificial, pretty much vampire daylight or sun ring, basically already. And his outfit, the sun part of his outfit, he hasn't fixed yet, and he actually hasn't noticed that the sun, pretty much the daylight ring function on his, or the daylight pretty much inhibitors on his outfit that stopped the UV rays from burning him since he's a vampire, he hasn't, realized that they've been malfunctioned or they've been, pretty much, messed up. Him pretty much being confused and when, later on in the story. Now, basically, Robin and the rest of the team, go to the kitchen and they have the same type of conversation. Basically, pretty much while he's eating the cookies, and pretty much, Alphalette says it was kind of you to make any cookies, Megan. Basically, while he's saying, I already trust you with my secret identity, Megan. Basically pointing towards Robin or Grayson. Basically, him saying, Batman prevents Boy Wonder from, giving away his secret identity to the team. Basically, Superboy walks off after Megan and the rest of the team stop, talking, or they're pretty much in the middle of the conversation. And pretty much Megan talks to Superboy saying, don't worry, Superboy. Mentally, basically, breaching past his head and just made me just, pissing him off. Basically, him being kind of angry and saying, pretty much, yelling at her to get out my head. And basically, Megan talks to the rest of the team, pretty much saying, what's wrong. On Mars, everybody talks telepathically. But basically, since, since Robin has more of a heightened senses and everything, it hurts him a little bit more, him falling down to the ground. And basically, him yelling at Megan to stop, him going overboard a little bit and his eyes turning black, him running towards Megan, grabbing her by the throat. about to try to just choke her out. And Megan pretty much, pushes Robin off of him, and Robin gains back consciousness and basically looks around saying, "What did I do?" Now, basically, Aqualad is confused and pretty much pulls Robin aside, asking, what's the whole entire deal with you?" And basically, Robin says, "I told you guys I'm a vampire a long time ago." Basically, him saying that sometimes when I'm over in pain or when I'm completely overflowed by bloodlust, I lose control and sometimes I completely just black out. But mainly it happens rarely. But I guess Megan breaching through my brain with my heightened senses messed with my pain too much and made me go overboard. Pretty much Aqualad says, "Please don't let it happen again." And pretty much, Aqualad and Robin coming back to the kitchen, basically them talking to the rest of the team. Basically, Superboy getting kind of angry. Superboy being way really still angry at Megan for breaching the pretty much secret idea, breaching the basically you know breaching the they're pretty much privacy with pretty much peering into their minds and talking to them telepathically. Now Megan, tells them, "I know what we can do," basically flying towards the Bay Area or towards her ship. Basically, Superboy getting told by Megan shortly after, "Please come with us, Superboy." Basically, Superboy reluctantly coming with them. Now, pretty much, Wally is confused because, her Martian ship looks kind of cute, but it's not aerodynamic since, it's a orb or a ball of sorts. And basically, Robin expects it, looking towards it closer, and basically, enhancing his sight a little bit, looking farther on the pretty much looking farther on the designs of the pod. Basically, Wally getting told that pretty much the team getting told that it's in sleep mode, silly. Basically, her waking it up and it going into its Martian form, or pretty much it turning into her pretty much nano ship or her Martian ship. Basically, she gets into it and greets them in. They go in and they see that instantly, pretty much chairs and multiple other stuff are pretty much manifested from the chair. Seeing that the chair is Martianized, it's shapeshifting to pretty much their proportions. Basically, Robin sitting down, being pretty surprised by this. And basically, Megan shows them around and flies them around. And basically, she shows them the camouflage mode of the ship. And before that, she shows them a couple other stuff. Now, Robin suggests, to Megan, how about showing us some Martian shape-shifting? Basically, her showing them, some stuff. Basically, her shape-shifting into female versions of Wally and Grayson. Basically, Robin suggests, basically how about show you guys something else. Now, basically, he shapeshifts into, a swarm of bats flying around in a designated area, not flying all the way around, not trying to mess up Megan's control. And basically, Megan is pretty surprised by this, looking at it, saying, "Wow, that's pretty complex to shapeshift into multiple things at once." Basically, Robin shapeshifts back, basically him saying, "Try this one out." Basically, him pretty much, grabbing Wally's hands, saying, can I, try out something?" It's kind of like mind control, but it's more of a compulsion thing. Basically, Wally's saying, you can compulsion people, like in the vampire movies, like, "I can suck your blood, blah, blah, blah." Basically, Jason getting kind of offended, saying, don't do that again. You sound stupid." Basically, him, looking into Wally's eyes and telling Wally to act like a chicken and pretty much, jump up and down and quack for 2 hours. Basically, Wally, doing that same thing, just super speed style. Basically, the 2 hours being up in a matter of minutes since, he did it super speed. Pretty much, Wally being confused on what happened. Now, basically, Superboy looks at the whole entire situation alongside Aqualad. Aqualad saying, you can mind control people. Basically, Robin, he pretty much explained what compulsion is, saying compulsion is basically not really mind control, but it's more or less making people do things that they would never really truly do. I can tell people to do the truth, multiple other stuff. It's kind of tricky with other species, like aliens and other creatures. I can't really do compulsion on them as good as I can on humans. But I barely use compulsion because I feel like it's a pretty much a breach of my humanity, and it's just taking away something from people. And the more you compulsion somebody, over time, they will eventually see that compulsion as the truth, and pretty much at this point, at a certain point, you won't even, need to look into their eyes. Vampires can just look at them and think of what they want them to do. And basically, Robin says I barely use it for selfish needs, like getting blood from people and stuff like that. Basically, Wally's saying, so how much blood you drink, or how do you drink blood? Basically, Grayson's saying I don't want to talk about that. And basically, now pretty much after Robin sits down after pretty much Kip after or pretty much Wally is told that Wally pretty much asks Megan, can you do that ghosting thing through walls that Martian Manhunter can do it, and basically she says no. It's a very complex move. It's very complex technique. Basically Robin getting dogging on Wally saying, Flash can vibrate his molecules through walls. When Wally does it or tries it, his bloody nose. Basically, Wally's saying, dude, don't say that. Pretty much, Robin scoffing at this. Now, basically, the rest of the team gets pretty much, told by Red Tornado, by Incom, saying that it's pretty much the Shred's call or a accident at Happy Harbor, and then go check it out. They show up at Happy Harbor, and they pretty much quickly realize that I think the big tornado heading towards us is the reason that the stress call was answered or called in. Basically, them getting cut off course and them getting blasted off. They eventually get out of the pretty much ship, dropping off, and pretty much seeing that Robin just disappeared, and pretty much has gone into basically the pretty much area where Twirler is or Twister is, and he pretty much starts to fight Twister, and he actually holds himself up against Twister for a pretty long time, since he does have vampire strength, agility, and speed alongside his already very impressive combat skills, and him being already a very hard foe to fight against even without powers. So basically Robin starts dogging on Twirler. Twirler does, kick up the heat or the power and basically blast Robin through a concrete pillar, basically, breaking a few bones in Robin's body. Now Robin's, vampire healing starts kicking in a little bit, harder, and basically he slowly gets back up with his spine and also, his bone ribs or his ribs pretty much just, healing back into place and him getting back up. And basically he runs towards Twirler after, Silverboy gets blasted away from Twirler by a mini tornado. And pretty much, Robin starts speeding towards Twirler. Its super speed levels, basically throwing multiple batarangs towards pretty much Twirler's chest. And the batarangs being pretty much, explosive. Him pushing Twirler towards the door. Now basically, Twirler doesn't get out the area just yet, and grabs pretty much, grabs Grayson straight from the head, Thanos style, and basically throws him down to the ground, knocking Jason out cold. Grayson, sorry. Grayson or Robin. I'm just gonna say Robin. Now basically, Robin pretty much starts to, starting to get mollywhopped and just punched down to the ground by Twirler. Now Twirler starts punching him over and over and over again, pushing him down farther into the ground by wind attacks. And basically, he makes more pressure and more pressure on Grayson's body, to a point where if a normal human or Grayson wasn't a vampire and could, survive pretty bad injuries, he would have died at this point. Now basically, the rest of the team jumps in and starts fighting Twirler. Now Grayson has enough, pretty much speed to get back up from the injuries that he faced. Him getting back up slowly, and basically him looking around. Now basically Wally's outside since he was thrown outside earlier, and basically Wally tries to stop Twirler from leaving. Now, Wally, almost, succeeds of stopping Twirler, but gets quickly, straight up mollywopped into the outside area of the pretty much air building, but gets stopped before he hits the door by telekinesis from Megan. Now, basically, Robin and the rest of the team get ready, and basically Robin feels a little bit low since he used a lot of a lot of his powers, because him compulsioning people does take a little bit, like an ounce of blood from his supply, trying to make him pretty much you know weak. So basically, pretty much Robin tells Megan to try to look into, the twirler or the guy's head, basically making saying, pretty much saying he's organic, he's a robot, and he can't read his mind. Pretty much them coming to the conclusion that it's probably, well, Red Tornado. Now, basically, and they, are kind of confused, saying that you can't even get a real villain for us to fight. You have to do a train cinema with pretty much, Twirler. They accuse Twirler of, not being a fake, pretty much, saying you're Red Tornado, blah, blah, blah. Basically, him showing them that he is into Red Tornado, and basically them getting mollywopped. Now, pretty much, Grayson starts dodging most of the pretty much ways, or the pretty much moving out the way as fast as possible, using his vampire speed abilities, trying to get out the way of the blast or the lightning strike he's sent towards them. Superboy and Robin come out of the ashes, but Superboy gets quickly mollywopped by a lightning blast from a red what was it, Twirler, and basically pretty much Robin starts running around super speed style, getting out of the way or moving out of the way of Twirler as fast as possible. Twirler moves more electricity towards pretty much Robin, shooting electricity harder than any type of human or nearly a Kryptonian can withstand. Basically, pretty much burning a hole right through, well, Robin's chest. Now, basically, Robin falls down to the ground, and basically, right before Robin was about to get attacked one more, Megan uses her ship to basically put a camouflage mode on it and puts it over them, making it look like pretty much they have disappeared. Basically, Twirler sees this and just leaves, basically flying away. Wally and the rest of the team look at, Robin, thinking that he's dead. Basically, them, pretty much Wally and Megan and also Aqualad trying to retesserate or pretty much bring back, Grayson. Now, Grayson coughs up some blood, saying, "I need blood." Basically his nose becoming a little bit black, and his nails growing pretty much larger, and pretty much his teeth and his fangs showing, and his eyes turning black. Basically, him not being able to be seen because his shades were still on. Basically, Wally runs around trying to find some blood when he eventually comes across a blood bank. He runs in there, pretty much grabbing some blood packets just randomly and running out, pretty much leaving a couple of cats, trying not to steal anything, and pretty much, runs back to runs back to basically Jason, and pretty much, Grayson, sorry, or Robin, runs back to Robin, and Robin grabs the, blood packs and Trader just gulps them down. And eventually he gets enough strength to regenerate the hole in his chest, and he gets back up slowly. Now, basically, Superboy gets angry at them, saying that he got away, and blah, blah, blah. Basically, Kid Flash and Superboy pretty much tell Megan to hit the showers, and pretty much Superboy saying to stay out of our way. Basically, Megan gets kind of sad, pretty much being very, caught off guard and very sad about, the whole entire thing about her, failing the mission. Basically, pretty much, Aqualad talks to her the same way in original, and pretty much walks off. Now we can switch on to the other area of Happy Harbor, where basically Grayson, Kid Flash, and also Superboy and Aqualad show up to try to stop Twirler from causing any more havoc. Basically, Twirler is causing more havoc when basically he says, surely this havoc will get the attention of, real heroes. Basically, pretty much Grayson, Wally, and Superboy showing up, basically them pretty much about to mollywop Twirler, or Twister, yeah, Mr. Twister, yeah, Twister, that's his real name. That's the robot's name. They start attacking Twirler when basically Megan goes back to Red Tornado to talk to him about the whole entire Twister thing. And pretty much the rest of the team start to, fight against Twister more and more, but Twister is pretty much throwing them back and forth with his elemental abilities left and right. Basically, eventually, Robin sees this and jumps in, going full on vampire, seeing that his team, or the team, is losing from a long shot, since, Twirler is basically taking them all out. Basically, Robin makes a plan, taking out his utility belt and plugging it onto his chest, making it a little bit more, able to move. He makes a plan with Wally, and they get ready, but they get told by Megan, by Psychic Link, to tell them, the whole entire gist and the plan against Twirler. Now, before they're about to execute their plan, basically Robin senses something flying towards and looks up, seeing that Red Tornado shows up, basically flying down, saying to hit the showers, boys. Basically, Robin saying, we have a plan now. Basically, Red Tornado saying, this is not up for debate. Pretty much Robin getting a little bit angry, saying, we have a plan now. Basically raising his voice towards Red Tornado. Red Tornado pretty much, pretty much chooses to ignore that and says to hit the showers now, boys, and to get out the way. Basically, him getting ready to talk or try to. Pretty much he starts to get ready to fight against Twister. And pretty much, they start to fight. And they start to duke it out very well. Them throwing more tornado blast left and right. And basically, Red Tornado going back and forth against, Twister. Now basically go back and forth, throwing more elemental rocks, blast, pretty much elements left and right, Twister throwing lightning blast towards Red Tornado, and more and more. Red Tornado eventually gets knocked out and pretty much folded by Twister, and Twister's about to finish the job. When pretty much Twister tries to get some information from Red Tornado, and pretty much attract something from his, mind, from some sort of plugs, eventually he's stopped when Red Tornado is shown to be, not Red Tornado at all, but Megan shapeshifted. Now basically, Wally and the rest of the team start to fight and go up against, Red Tornado, and eventually, pretty much, Superboy jumps in and punches pretty much 3 huge holes towards Twister's chest with his super strength, and pretty much Aqualad uses his electric abilities to shock Twister when he's underwater, and Megan rips Twister apart with her telekinesis. Robin steps in, throwing pretty much explosive shurikens towards Twister, and Twister has lost both of his arms. His armor, his chest is bumped in, and he's pretty much shown that it's a man in the suit. Pretty much the man gets up and pretty much is, stopped by the team. Now Megan's about to straight up kill this guy, and she does. She throws a rock right on him, and pretty much, Robin says, what are you thinking? You just killed that man. Basically, her saying it's not a man, and ripping up the rock, seeing that it's a robot man inside of a robot suit. Now, basically, she pretty much, Wally picks up one of the robot eyes and says, cool, souvenir. And pretty much that's where we're going to leave it off there. Basically, they win the fight, and they take down Twirler or Twister, and basically, the people that are looking through the camera eyes or looking through the cameras of Twister, they see that Robin is very potential, and basically one of the scientists pretty much say that the team is very they talk about the team, and they mainly talk about Robin and how fast he is and how the Robin has enhanced so far. Basically, them pretty much seeing that Robin is a lot more faster, and they never knew Robin had abilities. Now basically they, talk about Young Justice, and we switch back to Mount Justice, Red Tornado, and Red Tornado talks to them. Pretty much Red Tornado talking to them about Twirler and Twister, and basically all about the other stuff. Pretty much, Robin makes fun of Red Tornado behind his back, but Red Tornado, says that, I have a heart, and also, I do, have excellent hearing. Basically, Robin being, kind of, shocked and saying, I didn't mean anything I said. Basically him, smirking menacingly. Now, basically near the end of the episode, pretty much Superboy apologizes, saying sorry to Megan, and that's where I'm going to leave it off episode 3. Now, basically, before we leave off episode 3, Basically, before episode 3 ends off, basically we'll switch back to a cutscene or a ending scene where we see Dracula from earlier that day watching the Young Justice from a rooftop on the whole entire Twister fight. Basically, him seeing the strength and pretty much speed that Robin has shown off through the fight. Now, basically, he sees that Robin's very potential and he needs to be on his team, saying that the war is coming and it's not going to be pretty. Now, basically, that's where I'm going to leave it off there, guys. So, basically, I'm going to leave it off here. Originally, I was going to fit in episode 4, Drop Zone, but I'm going to fit on episode 4 and part 3. So I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you guys like and subscribe. And as always, guys, have a blessed day. The reason why this video is getting cut down and only having 1 episode in it is because, well, I'm trying to grind on my what ifs today. So yeah, see you guys later. Bye. And, well, have a blessed day. Deuces.